Alright guys, MTech Guy here, and today we're looking at getting an oil change done on an E53 X5, and this video will be specific to the X5s with the 3-litre engine. So first off, we'll take a look at how often we should be looking at changing the oil. Now as you can see, the service indicator there, it's on its last green square, so that's showing us that it's just about ready for another oil service, which we're doing today. I normally give it another oil change when it sort of gets halfway between the beginning of the green line and halfway down, so it's actually getting 2 oil changes within that whole period. I've never really trusted the length of the BMW service interval, so I always chuck another oil change halfway along. And secondly, we'll take a look at what we need to get the job done. So first off, you're going to be wanting some 530 fully synthetic oil. Now I normally go for the Castrol Edge, that's my favourite. I've tried the Shell, I think it was 540 in the past. I got a little bit of lifter noise with that. I'm not a big fan of Mobil 1, I stick with the Castrol Edge, but whatever your preference is or whatever's available in your country, the main thing you want to be looking for is you want to be going for 530 weight, fully synthetic, and the other thing you might be looking for is that it's BMW approved, so it'll say BMW Long Life or BMW LL01 Long Life 1. The one specific for the diesel engines will say Long Life 04, so it's the LL01 that you want for these cars. Next off, you're going to be wanting an oil filter. Now I just went straight for the dealer and got one of these. I found they're cheap enough. A funny old thing in New Zealand here, it actually works out about $10 cheaper to buy one from the dealer than one of the 2 main auto parts stores here. So anyway, for anyone who's paying attention, there's the part number. That one's a BMW branded one. Other brands that are worth looking at is a MAN, Marley or Hengst. I won't bother with any other brands. As far as I'm aware, MAN's the OEM manufacturer, so I normally go for a MAN or a genuine one. Okay, next up you're going to want a 36mm socket, that's for your oil filter housing cap, and a 17mm socket, that's for your oil pan drain plug, and then just a pocket screwdriver, that's just to remove the O-ring oil filter housing cap. And of course some gloves, plenty of rags because it's going to get messy, and you want a pan to drain the old oil into. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we get into the job is just start the car up, get the engine running, get the engine up to temperature, get the oil nice and warm, and that'll mean that it'll just drain off that bit nicer, and we're aiming to get as much as the old oil out the engine as possible. Alright, next up we want to get the front end of the car up in the air so we can access the oil drain pan plug, so we can either use a pair of axle stands and a jack. Now when we get under the front end of the car, I'll show you where the main jacking point is at the front, and then where you'd place your axle stands, there's 2 lift points at the front of the car, just these plastic blocks. There's one there just underneath, one around the other side. But with the X5 having a bit of extra ground clearance, what I do is I just use a couple of wooden blocks like this to run the front wheels up on. Now if you are going to use something like this, just make sure it's firm and solid, it's not going to collapse on you or anything silly like that. That's what I use. Let's get the front end of the car up in the air. Handbrake on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get underneath the car, position our oil drain pan. We'll remove the sump plug, the oil drain pan plug, and we'll start the oil draining process. Okay, so under the front end of the car here, that's your main jacking point there that we were talking about earlier, if you are using a jack and jack stands. And the oil drain pan is just under that access opening there. Just see it there, 17mm. Okay, so now that we've got the oil draining, while that's doing its thing, what we'll do next is remove the oil filter housing cap, which is here. It's just positioned next to your power steering reservoir, so that's over here. We'll get that removed. Now that's got like a cartridge style oil filter in there, and it can get a bit messy when you lift it out, so you might just want to put a rag across here or whatever. Let's pull it out and have a look. Okay, so we've got our oil filter housing cap removed there with the filter itself, the old one. Got our oil drain plug removed there. We'll remove the old washer, and let's have a look what we got in the new box here. New filter. It also comes with a new O-ring for the oil filter housing cap. And of course, a new sump plug washer. So we'll stick that on there, ready to refit. So first off, we'll remove this old O-ring. Before we refit the new one, what I normally do is just lube it up with a bit of fresh oil. And then this will just help on reinstalling the cap, that this isn't going to bind up and pinch and then leak oil all over your engine. Pull the oil filter out. New gasket on, it just sits in this groove here. There we go, just make sure it's all located in that groove. New filter just pushes on, just like that, and then we're ready to refit this back on the car. And just snug it up. There we go. Okay, next important step, we're going to refit our sump plug, our oil pan plug, with its new washer. And again, you don't need to go mad tightening this up, you're just compressing that small copper washer, so just a good nip. That's it. Alright, now we're ready to fill up the engine with fresh engine oil. Now the capacity of the engine is 7.5 litres, so obviously you'll need 2 of these. I've got 10 litres here. The little bit extra that's left over is just handy for a top up later on. Okay, so you're never going to know how much of the old engine oil you manage to drain out, so what I normally do is just pour about 7 litres of the new fresh oil in there, and then that last half a litre I just gauge it off the oil dipstick. So of course your 2 marks on your dipstick, that's the last litre of the level in your oil pan. You can use the marks on the edge of the oil bottle here just to gauge how much you've put in. And of course it's worth having a little funnel just to help you out pouring the new fresh engine oil in your engine. Saves it getting messy. Okay, so we've got 7 litres of oil in there now. Now that's more than enough just to be able to start the car up. And what we'll do is we'll back it off the blocks of wood, we'll pull it forward again, and then we've got it on a nice level surface. just to double check that oil level, just a last check of that, and then we're pretty much done. Alright, so what I did there, just before I moved the car, I let the car idle for a few moments just to let the new oil filter just fill up with oil again. And then what we'll do next, now we've got it on a nice level surface, is we'll just pull the dipstick, we'll check the level, we'll top it off as necessary, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, so you can see there, we're only about 1/4 of a litre from full at the moment, so them 2 marks represent 1 litre, the last litre of the oil level. So we'll put another 3/4 of a litre in there, and we should just be at the top mark there. Should be good to go. Okay, you can see there, we're spot on the line now. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got the engine refilled with fresh engine oil and we've got it at the correct level. The last thing we need to check is for any oil leaks where we might have disrupted any parts of the engine. So first off, your oil filter housing here, just make sure you got no oil dribbling down here, just in case that O-ring got compromised. But as long as you lube it up with some fresh engine oil, you shouldn't have any problems. And then back under the car, we're just going to check the sump plug, your oil pan plug, just to make sure we've got a positive seal there also. Alright, we're ready to reset the service indicator light now. So what we need to do is make sure the key's off at the moment, and we're going to hold in the odometer reset button there and then turn the key to position 1, and with that held in, it should come up with this message. When I let go of it, press it in again, hold it, and then while it's flashing, just press it against once more quickly, and then with the ignition off, if we just start her up again, we can see that all the green lights are fully lit there. Alright, that's that job sorted. Hope this video helped you guys out. If you found it useful or interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm MTech Guy. Thanks for watching.